always. And let me say good morning to Dr. Francis Akum. Wishing you all the best for the day as well. And all teachers and members of the Ghana National Association of Teachers, especially. The president. I also know a number of you as well. Wishing you all the best. The General Secretary, Thomas Tanko Musa, and then also all those who tend to make sure that we get well taught in school. But please, if you're joining us this morning, we also have some special guests this morning because it is a special edition of the May Day for the TV3 New Day. That's the May Day content of the May Day edition of TV3 New Day. We're grateful that all of you have joined us. But we'll do some quick discussions. I have Shamima Muslim. We know that is one of the lead spokespersons for the presidency, and so she is right here. Good morning to you, Shamima.
Good morning and happy May Day.
Happy May Day to you too.
I see you are mechanically your way out.
Kwame Danso, aka Kwame Danso. My shop is at Kokompe.
We'll come visit you.
I know.
Afterwards.
That's a representation for today, and so we're grateful. And then also I have by her profession a pharmacist, but also right here with us, Dr. Susan Idwamanka. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Roland.
Happy May Day.
Many happy returns.
You were telling me earlier on that you would have worn your
lab coat.
Your lab coats. Your lab coat. I guess it works all the same. So we're grateful that you found your way into the studios and contributing to the discussions when it comes to all the things we have to do this morning. Okay, so we put two things on the bill, but again, we have to begin with looking at the general state of workers and all that. We know that the tripartite committee sat with the government, of course, the presidency. He took time to make sure that he was part of it. Something was agreed, and that also brought a lot of joy to workers, of course. But it also means we're still not there yet. No. But generally, what's your own advisory, but your own words of comfort for workers by way of the hard work, including yourself?
Well, good morning once again to your viewers. It's been a while since I passed through. I'm happy to be back on the show this morning. Let me also say good morning to Alhaji bin Yuru Bushali. Cookie is sitting right here. So, Alhaji, let's do it so that Cookie will be more jealous. Okay. Good morning. I hear you've been giving me greetings every day.
Incidentally, you haven't met him before. I was just hearing you and Cookie making those discussions.
But I've spoken to him on the phone. So hopefully I should be able to see him very soon. So there you go, Alhaji. Good morning. I thank you for your support, you know. So yes, it's May Day, it's Workers' Day. And I'd like to take this opportunity to wish all workers of Ghana the best of today and even beyond today, and to acknowledge their tremendous sacrifice and hard work, you know, that continues to make Ghana a growing concern, and workers within the formal and informal sector, workers who are contributing to our GNP and our GDP, but mostly those who also are engaged in unpaid labor. Underpaid labor, non-recognition at all. I mean, our caregivers at home, in other informal spaces who do not get any recognition or any remuneration for the very hard work they do in caring for our elderly, our sick family members, you know, in caring for homes. In other jurisdictions, even being a stay-at-home mom, it's productivity, because you're contributing to the sustenance of a family system that, you know, grows and grooms the next generation of labor for the country. And many people even get, you know, days off and remuneration for that. There are ongoing conversations, I think, about how we should include unpaid labor, especially within the family and home setting, as part of the calculation of our GNP, because it does contribute to, indirectly, to the sustenance of our economy. So today is Workers' Day, and we celebrate all of you. But there are challenges, and I think that we can't run away from the the challenges. There are narratives that go like, oh, workers pretend to be working and employers pretend to be paying them. I don't think that's what we want. We want a country where productivity matches remuneration. Yes, we are thankful that because of the current economic situation, workers of Ghana did accept a 10% base pay, which really, looking at the levels of, you know, the costs of living is not much, but through transparency and accountability, they do recognize that government is unable to do any more at present than what we've been able to do. Even as we do that, and the wage bill continues to be the highest, you know, and the significant cost head for government, what would also plead with workers on is to increase productivity, so that at least the little resources we are spending on remuneration, we get, you know, corresponding productivity in terms of, you know, their work output, the results, the impacts, and all of that. Because once you're in the public service, it is really more than just a call to duty. It's a call to contribute to this country's development. So whereas we recognize their hard work, their sacrifice, we would also appeal to labor to constantly remind, you know, their members of the need to justify the colossal sums of money that we continue to pump as remuneration and other, you know, service allowances for those that work in labor. But for today, we are celebrating labor in all its colors, shapes, and sizes across the country, whatever you're doing, informal, non-formal, women, disabled, all finding things to do so they can live lives of dignity. We say, Ayuko, Gahabanye, well done. We see you, we honor you, and we'll continue to do our best as government to create enabling and safe workspaces so that you can thrive in your work environment and contribute to the development of our motherland. So thank you, Labour, and we wish you a happy May Day.
And Dr. Susan Eduamankwa, while we congratulate and then comment or praise workers, whether formal or informal, we also don't have to lose sight of the fact that just about 2 or 3 years ago, we had to sacrifice the investment of workers through their various investment portfolios as, of course, undertaken through their unions and then various organizations. And so it meant that the chunk of Ghanaian workers, whether formal or informal, had to undergo a lot of sacrifice by way of the haircuts. That also has put a lot of strain. You look at the value chain in terms of those who tend to depend on workers solely. That's problematic, is that not it?
Yes.
Within the larger scheme of things.
Yes, yes. And let me also use the opportunity to congratulate all workers. We celebrate you, your dedication, your resilience, you know. It's a tough situation for workers. You look at it and you wonder, you go to the same market with people and you know that you believe that you are, you know, middle level or middle income, you know, Ghanaian, and you go and you can barely afford to buy the things that are on your list, you know, for your family. And you know that there are people who are, you know, probably getting half your salary or even a quarter of your salary, and they go to the same markets with you. And your heart just bleeds, and you're like, how are people putting food on their table for their families, you know, catering for their families? And so today we celebrate all you resilient workers who perform the magic to put body and soul together. We pray for better days ahead. We ask that you continue to hope for a better Ghana. You continue to put in your 2 pesos in building a better Ghana. Don't give up. And we cannot live like people without hope. So for all us workers, wish you a beautiful May Day, and enjoy the rest that you've been giving. And hopefully tomorrow, most of us will be back at work and not sleep in. So Happy May Day. And so, coming to your question, I think that the haircut was terrible. People expect to be maybe cheated out of things by, you know, other people, but not your government. Your government is supposed to have your welfare at heart. You understand? Your government is there to take care of you, of the things that you yourself cannot get hold of, you know. So you can go to work, you can feed your family, you can do this, but you cannot do a road. You cannot build a hospital. You cannot do certain things. And that's why you pay taxes so that your government will do these things for you. And then, of course, you put a little money away, you know, a little nest egg for the times that, you know, you would need it, especially if you go on pension. And in this country, you know, we go on pension at 60, which for, you know, given that our lifespans are increasing, 60 is relatively young, you know. So people go people prepare for that and hope that, you know, at 60 they can rely on this. And then you take it away from them. The future just looks bleak, you know, and I know that it has been said that it sent people to their graves, you know, just the fact that they were struggling to pay for medication, to you know, put body and soul together. In the past, you know, you could work, younger people could work and look after their parents. These days, the young people can barely put together, look after their own small families. How much more look after their parents? And so if you're a parent and you put money away in the hope that you don't burden your child, and this happens, it's a total disaster, you know. And so we would hope that government has learned that you should not leverage on your people's pensions, on your people's wages and things like that. They don't deserve that at all. You understand? And that you must make sure that you put policies in place that protect people 10, 15, 20 years. You know, we always say that your society is as strong as its weakest link. When you touch people who are vulnerable, you understand, you're not building a society. You know, it falls apart. And that's how we felt when, you know, it happened. We felt as if we were falling apart. We did fall apart as a nation. And we hope that that period in our nation will not come again. You know, where governments will think 20, 30 years ahead and do the things that ensure that our future is secure. And that if we put monies away as a nest egg, those monies are not dipped into to pay our debts. You understand? We have struggled, we have put money away, we have, you know, basically forfeited certain things to do what we did. People sacrifice. I mean, there are many people who just putting even 200 cedis away, it's a struggle.
It's a struggle.
It's a big struggle. So if somebody has been able to put money away and to invest, you understand, you must really, really have a great deal of respect for that effort and ensure that that doesn't happen. So we would want that this Labour Month, the government in place will not take us there again. Never again. We do not want to go in that direction again. And that you know, there are certain hard decisions that must be taken in place. As politicians, sometimes we do a lot of cosmetic things, you understand, and don't take the hard decisions and explain to the people why these hard decisions are good for their future. Then we take the cosmetic ones, the ones that are, what you call it, for today. You understand? We live as if, well, that's it for today. And then come a future, we are, you know, we are gnashing all over the place. I think that must stop. You know, governments, the hard decisions that take us to good places are the ones that they must do. And of course, if there are austerity measures, it must start with them. We must see those austerity measures with them. We shouldn't see the kind of flamboyant, how would I put it, prolificate spending that we see with the managers of our economy. You understand? And the lack of prioritization of things. Yeah. And then they come and they do this to us. It's just heartbreaking. So if governments are going to put in austerity measures so that we have brighter futures, so that we don't have domestic debt
hanging on
our heads, and then we have to dip into people's investments and people's pensions to do that, then
as far as we know, we have up to 2032 to be able to, based on the restructuring we've done, to be able to at least meet those targets. So
and a lot of those people will be dead by then.
Yes.
Because these are
and those who will not be there would have grown older.
Yes.
Yeah.
And a lot of the people who were really affected were people who had put this money away as a nest egg for their patients. You understand? So they had sacrificed to do that. And 2032, can you imagine if you're already 60 years at that time, or even 50, you get it. It's just not on.
Dr. Susan Edouard mentioned something about sustainability of what governments tend to say they are doing or tend to do by way of policies that's supposedly supposed to create employment. We've had also a number of them. Just we have the Ejumara. Of course, there's even the bigger one like the Big Push and the one that is supposed to. They talk about making sure that there's sustainability, there's progression when it comes to the policies for creating employment for young people, particularly when we know that they form the productive population by way of the age group. What's the thought of the presidency to ensure sustainability? Well, for those that have been even launched, those yet to launch.
Well, let me, before I just come to that, let me say that the bigger challenge with effects and consequence of the debt exchange program as a result of the really poor mismanagement of the economy is the trust in the financial, sector that has now been completely eroded. I mean, it took decades to build trust in the financial system and to encourage citizens to imbibe an investment culture. In the past, people will keep their monies in their rooms and, even basic, they will just keep a savings account. And persistent, consistent public education about the need to grow wealth. I mean, there are doctors who shared their harrowing experience about how, when they were medical students, they started these investment, clubs with some specific banks and encouraged, students, medical students. You can imagine
actually all students
what sacrifices they would have had to make with their very meager, resources to still put something, away for the future. And then 20 years, 25 years later, they get these, haircuts. And I think for me, during those periods, the most significant comment I heard was from a former vice-chancellor of a public university who was so pained to the point that he actually said publicly in an interview that he would never advise any of his children to ever invest in government bonds. And that's like, a real educated person who understands, but that's how he felt. And so you can imagine the ordinary Ghanaian, how long it's going to take us to re-engineer trust in our, financial system and get, citizens to truly continue to invest, because that's really one of the surest way of building wealth. If you don't invest and you're just relying on just your savings account, you can't ever grow your wealth. And that's also one of the what do you call it, the safeguards for pensions, especially as our pensions are not being managed properly, and the amounts that we usually give out to pensioners is even very small, you know, to say the least. So people have to find other creative ways of ensuring that when they do go on pensions, they are able to still live a certain modicum of, you know, decent and dignified life. So that's the challenge. And His Excellency continuously tells the Finance Ministry and all of us that we need to re-engineer trust by the way in which we manage the economy moving forward, so that Ghanaians would really trust that there's a new government that is committed to managing their resources productively with prudence and what have you. If you speak about sustainability of interventions, it is true, but doing nothing is not an option. In fact, this past weekend, weeks after that, in the next couple of days, we will be coming out comprehensively to let the people of Ghana know what we've been able to do in, you know, within these 3-4 months under our 120-day social contract. But if you have followed, which I know you have because you've reported on all of these initiatives, what is required per the statistics we had last year, which was really harrowing, about the numbers of young people who are not in education, who are not in training, and who have no skills, you know, and the fact that we needed to do something urgently to either put them in schools, put them in apprenticeship program that will give them some skills that they can come out and be able to even transport some of those skills beyond the borders of Ghana. And if we don't do that, we are sitting on a time bomb. So we need to create these programs and initiatives to put the youth to work, either as apprentices, either as employers and entrepreneurs. So the Ejumawa that you mentioned about, exactly. Yeah. So under the Ejumawa project, for instance, we are looking at targeting 10 million businesses annually. And these are medium, micro, small scale enterprises of young people. And you can see it now when you open social media. Young people are selling all kinds of things on social media. They're creating different things with their hands. Beads making, crocheting has become a thing now where young ladies are creating all kinds of beautiful products, including clothing, through crocheting. There is also this agro-processing, craze where a lot of young people are into food processing, whether it's grains, whether it's granite paste, whether it's plantains that are being processed into different kinds of things, yams. So you could see that there is a desire on the side of young people to find opportunities, even in the midst of concerns about employers that in the formalized work system, the youth are not being as productive as they should be. But you can also see a growing entrepreneurship spirit on their side. So maybe the future of work is not a 9-to-5 work. The future of work for this new generation of young people, who you may describe as having very short attention span, is to invest in their passions. Because look, now this influencer business has become a business. Loads of young people are on social media, influencing all kinds of things and earning some incomes, sometimes quite significant it is. So we must look at programs that target the passions of these young people, because when you do something that you love, you don't see it as work, and you control your time, and you know that what you get from it is dependent on how much hard work you put on it. So you want more money, you put more work in your passion, you see. So the Ejumawa is just targeting that. We are going to look at the passions of young people, the small businesses they have created through their own passionate, appeals to those particular businesses and support them. The hope is that annually we should be able to create at least 20,000 decent jobs. Why? Because if these 10,000 businesses, let's say they are owned by individuals, okay, and you are able to invest in them to the extent that they are able to employ just one more person, that's just 20,000, just conservative estimates, okay?
And also looking at
we have 16 regions. Across, of course, so it may be more. Some businesses would have the potential to even employ as much as 20, depending on what they are doing. Do you see it? The agricultural program that we are encouraging young people to go into at the various districts. I have always explained that you must look at the legacy term of His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, especially for the youth of this country, as a menu. You've gone into a restaurant, you've been given a menu of different offerings. And so it is up to you to look at this menu and decide which offering best sits with what you desire at the particular moment. So, for example, you take the menu, if you are a youth in job looking to enhance your skills, then you think that, okay, the 1 million coders program is what I want to, choose in order that I can enhance my skills to make me more marketable, that I can even transport those skills beyond the borders. Someone will sit and say, no, I run a little laundry business in Atebubu, for example, and I'm able to, wash the clothing of like 15 clients a week. But I do it manually. So through Ejumawura, if I'm able to go and get some money to purchase an industrial machine within my catchment area in my community, I can easily grow my client base to say even 50, 100 a week. These are real practical, small, interventions that have multiplier effect if we're able to do it. So somebody like that would opt for a Jumawura. Then someone is, maybe they completed just junior high school. They didn't continue to senior high school. And they don't have any formal certificate at the higher level. But they want to learn something with their hands. They are not in TVET, any of the TVET institutions, but they want to learn a trade or a vocation. So the apprenticeship program says that we're going to use trade masters already embedded in our community. So your mechanic shop that is located
at
where?
Kokompe.
At Kokompe.
Kwame Danso's mechanic shop.
Kwame Danso's mechanic shop at Kokompe. You can now also apply. It was launched yesterday. We were in Tamale yesterday, the National Apprenticeship Program. You can apply to register Kwame Danso mechanic shop as a trade master, willing and able to receive young people who want to learn, mechanics, to be able to be assigned. So the youth who apply in your area, because they will have to fill in where they are. So we will place young people at the closest trade master close to them, whether it's a mechanic, whether it's a saloon, whether it's a share, butter processing, outfit. So all of these businesses that we see around, that people teach other people how to do it on the job training. And it should also include some element of some classroom work so that you learn the basis of it. So it doesn't have to be...
So like bookkeeping and where you can source supplies and things
So for
like
example, even with the Ejumawura, there's a whole advisory services, which is a core component. Because we will not just throw money into non-viable businesses. So please, we're looking for viable businesses. We're looking for resilience and character of the business owners, because in Ghana, you must have some strong resilience to truly be an entrepreneur, because every day is buzz goes all around you. So we're looking to do that. And for those who have brilliant ideas that they don't even know how to start, the advisory services under Ejumawura is going to hold your hand and let you know if there are some regulatory, things that you need to do to register your business and how to do it, your basic stock keeping, if you're running a business that, includes procurement, how to do your procurement and how to manage your stock and how to even pay yourself. These are so many beautiful interventions for the youth of Ghana. And I'm saying that this is like the right time for all young people to come on board. The Ejumawura is live now. The Coders program is on now. The National Apprenticeship program is also live, and so many things. And we are inviting you to come on board. Right now, if you go to the National Youth Authority website, you should be able to download a form or fill an online form, either wanting to be placed in an apprenticeship program or registering to become a trade, man or a trade master or mistress to be able to teach other people. So, I mean, there are exciting times in Ghana. Today is May Day. In the evening, we are launching the Black Star Experience. It's been an action-packed week, and we are happy at the pace that His Excellency is leading this reset agenda, and we continue to call on Ghana to support us, because you know that we're on the right path, and we know that with your encouragement and support, and of course your feedback, we should be able to reset this country for the better.
I'm already getting some interesting messages. I already have this one from Richmond Sichi, who is with the whole technical university, and says, a lot of eloquence on your table today, not only Shamima, but also Dr. Susan Idwamankwa, Richmond Sichi. I wish you all the best for the day. But that's where, again, I come in with the last question on the subject. Then we'll move on to all the issues with the CJ, the AG, and the court, and the new appointment have been made, and the criticism towards that as well. It's not the first time we've had, I think, from time immemorial, at least in the Fourth Republic, we had the Youth Employment Program, or then the YEA at the time. And I remember during the last John Mahama administration, the first one, we had a number of things that were being implemented. How to repair your phones, how to be able to even employ people with new skills, whether it's dressmaking and then also hairdressing. Now it's up now. We have cosmetology. It's a whole thing now. You can even do filling of your skin, your wrinkles and everything. So we've even upped the game. The last administration, that's the Kufuor, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, also had initiatives like that operated by the YEA, others also funded by where Mago is now, that's the Ghana Enterprises Agency and all that. And this time around, even Sam George is already talking to, Lighter, the young man who is repairing phones, using more advanced ways to be able to do that than what is done on the street in Kumasi. And it's expected to be replicated because those are value chain businesses. The question is, why haven't we been able to sustain or build on administration after administration? Because a good initiative, a business is enrolled, expects that the next 4 or 5 years, I need to up the game. And then the program is tweaked, is changed, the beneficiaries become different, so the money goes down the drain from the previous beneficiaries to new people. Because we
politicized it. That's as simple as that. And so it is my buying now also, so it's my people that have come in. And then it's this one comes, it's my buying now also, and then some people come in. And so those people whose buying hasn't come on, then they fall through the cracks. I mean, that is the sad reality of some of our good programs in this country. You understand? And if we were less worried about who will take credit, you understand, we will continue with some of the good programs for our people to benefit. Too many times we are interested in who is going to take credit. And when that is done, you understand, we do superficial things and don't go to the surface, because it takes a while to grow things and get something meaningful. I mean, we've had YEA, NYP, whatever, alphabets together. But have we followed up on the young people that we've put into these programs to see that these young people have moved on in life, you understand, and in such that they have become middle class and are holding the economy together? And what percentage of them have done that? You will find a few bright spots, no doubt. There will be bright spots in that. But you need to have that critical mass of persons who have been moved from one level in the economic structure to growth. Do we have reports that we are following? You understand? Look, you put these programs in place to fill certain gaps. You understand? And to ensure that they are effective and that they bring in the rewards that you were the objectives in the first place. You understand? If we are going to be tweaking them and not giving them time to actually mature into full-grown programs, and then say that we will tweak it, we are going nowhere. So somebody comes in for 8 years, does it his way. Another person comes in and he wants a different group of people to man it. They come in with different ideas. We haven't done a proper evaluation of how our growth is, and then we switch off. I was looking at something to do with Deng Xiaoping. You understand, and how he was able to grow his economy. And I think that nowhere has that happened where a leader has been able to pull 800 million people, out of poverty. You get it? There are examples and things to learn there. What kind of policies were allowed to grow and allowed people to get rich so that they could also then be able to put other people. Too many times, in our situation, it is just about getting a few people on the top tier rich, and you have a middle class people who are one catastrophe away from the poverty. Something happens 1 minute, they will fall into
some chronic issue, and
some chronic issue. They unfortunately get a kidney ailment or something, and the next minute they are poor. We have too many middle class people like that, and it comes out of the fact that we have these programs and we don't follow through to ensure that people in these programs do get rich enough to pull other people up also from poverty. You get it? We have to look at these programs in terms of maybe Ghana at 100, Ghana at 120, and follow them through. I mean, if you go to the National Development Authority, they have beautiful plans that are the same. Political parties come, throw them away, and are doing their own things.
Them.
We just and you just trash them. And these are things that are looking at us in terms of long term. Yes, it is good to come in with your ideas, but your ideas should be on how to get established things working better, not throw them away. So I think that these programs have come on, and we haven't seen the benefit of them because we haven't seen people grow into a certain economic stature and able to then they themselves also pick other people up from poverty into middle class. And that should be the aim of these programs. We shouldn't be changing them willy-nilly when there's a new government and say, it's my people who are in now. So, it's just same script, different actors. I don't believe that is how we want to go.
All right. I guess all of us have witnessed enough for some time now, so we'll see how that goes. But more importantly, the trending issues now is all the issues about the CJA, the disagreement by the GBA. We've even gone forward. Well, we even have new judges now to the Supreme Court, etc., nominated. But where we're moving off now is that the decision has been made. The committee will be sitting. The CJ will have to make appearances alongside it, etc. What do you make of the criticism, and what's the mind of the president on the criticism about whether or not the decision he took, though discretionary, but also imposed or he's enjoined by the Constitution to do so? What's his mind on all that? All of you are the presidents, so to speak.
Well, it's been a flurry of activities,
roller coaster,
and
I have to say,
since this matter came up, and as usual, the lawyers have had a field day, having day, interpreting and counter-interpreting what they perceive to be the real intent behind some of the constitutional provisions that we laymen read and understand in layman's language. But the president is always stoic, because you see, guiding everything he does is a good heart and a good spirit and good intentions. And we have known him for so long that we know that he is not one giving to viciousness and hatred and collusion and conniving to bring upon injustice on any citizen. And for that, I always proudly say that I am so glad and honored to be working for a leader like that. You see him every day. Even within the party itself, you would hear criticisms against his approach of wanting to lead with heart and to lead this nation, especially actions that government take to ensure that those actions are always guided by fairness and justice and due process and rule of law. I am happy that we've had quite a lot of conversations around whether or not the president acted judiciously or he exercised his discretion in accordance with the dictates of the Constitution. I'm going to say a few things. There was some time ago I did a training and I used the human figure, the mind, the heart, the hands and feet to illustrate a point. And what do we need to know as citizens? What are the basic facts that should guide our own considered opinion? Because you and I, we are not all lawyers, and we can only make good sense and good judgment based on what we hear, from the arguments so far tendered on this particular matter. So what are the facts, and how should people feel about this particular matter, and what should they do based on what they have heard and known? What are the facts? I tend to reference the write-up of Professor Kweku Azar, who has said quite categorically that the president has not breached any aspect of the 1992 Constitution, 32 years on. And if you read the statement that came from the Ghana Bar Association, that's on the revocation of the suspension, if you allow me, that the Ghana Bar Association calls for the immediate revocation of the suspension of the Chief Justice, as it considers the suspension to be unconstitutional, considering the fact that the president, who is not a judge or judicial officer, exercised his discretion to suspend the Chief Justice under Article 14610 of the 1992 Constitution. May I ask respectfully, who is the Ghana Bar Association to be asking the president to immediately revoke an action that he has taken? Most respectfully, who is the Ghana Bar Association? In one breath you're saying that the president has breached the Constitution, whereas a constitutional process has been activated, a process that has been defined by law. It is not the president who, in and of himself or by himself, initiated any action against the Chief Justice. The president received petitions. And what to do with petitions upon receipt of those petitions is clearly stated in the same Constitution that the Ghana Bar Association, thankfully, who have today found their voice and who have today accepted the invitation of none other than His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, assuring all manner of people, all Ghanaians, that it is a new era of real freedom of expression, a marked departure from the time not too far gone where citizens found themselves censoring themselves, fearful to speak out, where independent research institutions came up with reports that under the leadership of the former president, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, that trust in accountability institutions was at an all-time low, and that there was some increasing high-handedness that was creating an environment of self-censorship. CSOs couldn't speak. Ghana Peace Council had to go quiet, even them. Religious organizations were very media, the fourth estate of the realm, were self-censoring themselves, Roland. So if today we have a president who has always been consistent in how he advocates for responsible, freedom of expression, even in the cases and instances where people have been wholly irresponsible in some of their expressions. It is the process of due process of law that has always been activated to counter the misinformation or the lies or the fake news. So this is the president we are dealing with now, and I'm so happy that today Ghana Bar Association can write, can speak out on national issues and call on the president to act. I'm saying that
the floodgates have now been opened due to the receptiveness of the president.
But that's what democracy is about. Democracy is to allow citizens to be real citizens, as we're invited to be and not spectators. So I am happy that nowhere in the statement of the GBA have they, in reference to that particular article 296, which they have quoted to be the reason why they think the president did not have the powers to act, on his discretion by not bringing up a CI or any other statutory, legislation for that matter to guide that action. Lawyers have explained to us. They have given us specific cases in the specific matter of Ransford Franks, where the judges themselves say that to actually expect that any time anyone cloaked with discretionary power, including the president, acts on that discretionary power, they must come to that, action with a CI or an LI, is to expect a nuclear meltdown. It would like to be a chaotic situation, one discretionary power, one CI. That will be obnoxious.
Sort of a guideline for every discretionary decision.
I've heard some of the NPP people and their lawyers, and that's one of the worrying things. It would seem as if it is NPP for the Chief Justice versus Ghanaians. Majority, it would seem as if, because the reason why they have not helped the Chief Justice matter is because of their deep-spirited defense of a matter that is clearly following due process. A president receives his petitions. He forwarded same to the Council of State. The Council of State sits and reviews those petitions and concludes that there is a case to answer, and so advised the president to invite the Chief Justice to step aside and continue to set up the committee as directed by the Constitution, including judges on that committee, so they can look into the matter. And the same Constitution says in camera, you come and say that we should make known the prima facie case. Why? You see, the interpretation of the law by the GBA is not the law. So the GBA must not expect that their interpretation, which is not the law, but their interpretation of provisions that have also been contested by counter-sound arguments from people, not the NDC, from neutrals, respected individuals of integrity in our society who disagree wholly with the position and the stance of the GBA, a stance that is a marked departure from their initial statement that recognized that once these constitutional actions have been activated, there are two options towards a certain end. It is either after this committee sits and meets with the CJ makes her case strongly with evidence to arrive at the conclusion that indeed there was no wrong done on her part. And so the same Council of State will advise the president to do what? Reinstate her. That's one option, a certain end. The other certain end is that this committee would investigate this matter, would give the right of the right to the Chief Justice to do what? To defend herself in this matter in a dignified way. All of us who work at the presidency, up to date, have not cited any one of those petitions. The petition couldn't have been leaked from the presidency. But we have heard members of the New Patriotic Party copiously quoting from what they tell us is the petition. Where did they get it from?
You are the presidency, haven't cited
we have not cited it. And that is the dignity with which the president has acted in this matter, to protect the innocence of the Chief Justice until otherwise declared. Why is the New Patriotic Party and their lawyers so insistent that they will make this matter a partisan matter, and by so doing, further deepening their perceptions that they may have acted, you know, with bias when they were in government, which is why we saw what many independent observers have described as an unreasonable packing of our courts, from our low courts right to the Supreme Court, over 55 judges. I read a post by Oliver Vamawo, who said from 1992 till date, the NDC has only appointed one Chief Justice. All the other 17 or so that we have seen in the period were under periods of the New Patriotic regime. And even that one appointment was contested by the New Patriotic Party. Perceptions are based on actions that may seem to be deliberate at tinkering with our Constitution. So I am happy that they have said nowhere in their statement that in the exercise of the presidential discretion as spelled out by the same Constitution under the same Article 296 provisions, the president has not acted in an unfair manner. He has not acted, his actions have not been influenced by malice intended to disrespect the person of the Chief Justice and all of that. They have made no reference. They have indeed not indicated that the president has acted in a capricious manner. They have not said so. So I am happy that it is just a mere interpretation of a specific, provision that, according to them, enjoins the president to have come to this same decision through the instrument of a CI. So if the president had done so, what would have been the effect of it? There would have been no consequence then, because then they would have been happy. But here we are. The process is ongoing. And as far as government is concerned, that process would see its logical conclusion. We thank the GBA for the opinions that they have rightfully, shared. But the president will not be taking any action on their call anytime other than the time that the committee that he has set up completes its work and give the CJ her time before the committee to defend her matter, and that same committee would make recommendations which the president would act on without any bias at all. I wonder if it was bias that influenced the previous administration in the appointments that they made. If it was not so, they ought not to believe that someone also exercising their constitutional duty being influenced by any negative bias or hatred. That is not the person of His Excellency.
Now, Dr. Susan Eduamanko, and we all have perused the Constitution, and in the Article 146(6), it does indicate where the petition is for the removal of the Chief Justice, the President shall, acting in consultation with the Council of State, appoint a committee consisting of the justices, etc. And then, of course, there's a Council of State that's been mentioned there. And subsequently, then we also make reference to Article 296, which says, and the C says, where the person or authority is not a judge or other judicial officer, there shall be published by constitutional instrument or statutory instrument regulations that are not inconsistent with the provisions of this Constitution or that other law to govern the exercise of the discretionary power. And we've had even other case laws that have been quoted copiously to support this. And in all this, it looks like, apart from the GBA, the other side of the political divide, the MPP especially, seem to be vehemently opposing the president's actions, when such actions, even referencing those same case laws and these constitutional articles, were taken by previous presidents, including the former president just in December. And you observing from the sidelines of governance transparency, what do you make of all the talk?
So let me say that. Sometimes I think that conflict is good.
Okay.
It allows differing ideas and viewpoints to come forward, and we are able to judge so that we can come and have to a place where we both, agree. I believe that we have shared goals in this country to make sure that our governance structure is strong, and the democracy we are practicing is sustainable in many ways. So having these differing opinions and viewpoints is good. It makes us think. We need to be a thinking people. And so for me, what is going on is it's encouraging. It's that yes, the GBA have come out to make their voice heard. They have a different opinion. It's like Shamima said, it's an interpretation of what they believe to be true. And the other side is there. We would believe that the president has lawyers who always look at the pros and the cons. In this law thing, it's like a chess game. You must anticipate the moves of your opponent and make sure that you are able to counter them. So I believe that the lawyers of the president would have gone through the pros and the cons and anticipated some of these things and have plausible explanations and also case law to defend the actions that the president has taken. So far, for our minds, the president has done it by the book. If they say that their interpretation of a law is some way, that is fine. And if it can be interpreted in a different way, he has chosen to interpret it in a different way and is acting on it. I think that they don't do the Chief Justice any good, especially the MPP, the way they're going on.
Why?
I would think that she would want to have her day in court. You understand?
Before the committee.
So before the committee, yes. And be able to prove her innocence if that is the case. You understand? So that she doesn't have anything hanging over her head. That, you took me through this process. I have been able to satisfactorily explain myself, and I have come out stronger and better for it. I believe it's also good for our judiciary system to recognize that there are certain, maybe, is it loopholes, is it cracks that can be exploited, and then strengthen it. We have the Constitutional Review Committee going on. This is an opportunity for them to look at it. Is the threshold for getting a CJ out too low? You understand? Is it? And they can make examples of it and make it stronger or better. Or is it okay? Because if we never test it, if you don't test the system, if you don't test the laws, how are you going to know that they are robust enough?
So we have to test the laws.
So it's okay. For me, it's fine. You understand? I think that we should all take an interest in it, okay, and not entrenched views, but be open-minded to any outcome. But we should look for fairness. We should look for transparency. We should look for that the proper form and procedures are being done. And then we can also then look at whether whatever was done, the substance of it is good. But if we already come into the argument about it with rose-tinted glasses in terms of how we are looking at it, or from where we are looking at it, you are seeing a 6, I'm seeing a 9, and we are both entrenched in it, it's going to get us nowhere. But I think that the majority of Ghanaians who are neither MPP nor NDC,
they see through.
We see through. I think we see through.
We see through.
Oh, we see through it, and we are waiting. How would I put it? To see how it goes. I think that if it we Ghanaians have not, how would I put it, are not going to take things lying down anymore. And we saw it in the last election. You understand? We may quietly observe, and we will punish you if we think you've done wrong. So
literally you're saying Ghanaians are not dumb?
No, we're not dumb. We are definitely not dumb. A lot of Ghanaians may be quiet and not talking, but they're observing and they're putting things down. And they're going to weigh the arguments that go. You understand? And they're going to follow it up. If the Chief Justice is able to go through this and come out, all well and good for her. If she's unable to go through it, if even
and good for her.
For the country also.
Every action has consequences, you say.
Every action has a consequence.
You made a point, and I'll follow through with the question. Why do you make the observation that the constant utterances, criticism and missiles directed at the president in a political way, even quoting criticism of the Chief Justice and the justices of the Superior Court during the campaign, supposedly, the MPP, by doing that, don't seem to be doing the Chief Justice herself any good. Why?
I didn't understand what you said.
I'm saying that you say the MPP, by their comments and criticism of the president on the decision he has taken, are not doing the Chief Justice any good.
Yes.
Why do you observe that?
Well, I mean, it seems to be extremely vociferous. And they have not been able also to say, so the GBA came
categorically.
Out. Yes, categorically. I mean, they keep going on feelings, and then you said this on the political platform, and your people said this, and we said this, and we know that you are being this. That's, I mean, it really is, for me, it's neither here nor there. What are they thinking for him? Are they putting his feelings out there and things like that? Based on what? It's so subjective, you understand? It is only right now that the GBA have been able to say this states a certain law. But all the things that the MPP have been saying, it's all political talk. You understand? And you don't like it, and you said on your platform that you remove it. Look, even if it was said on the platform, and there is no cause, you understand? And can you remove it? No. Even if it was said on the platform, and you make up the cause, you understand? And you make it up, whatever it is, if those petitions are made up. If she goes through the system that has been set into place to give justice, she will come out the better for it. You understand? If the system has not been, is not fair, and there's no justice in the system, then she, as a CJ, would have fallen on her own sword. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yes.
Because as Chief Justice, she is to ensure that the justice system is fair. And so it doesn't matter who is put through it, you must come out the better for it. And you must come out of it fairly. If the justice system is not fair, then she herself, she has paid the price of presiding over something that is not fair. Do you get me?
Very Macbethian.
So for me, let us go through this process. Let us observe it. Let us think it through. Let us not just listen to the political parties and their feelings and what was said on a political platform. Look, political platform, we say things are said. Sometimes the politicians themselves, they are surprised at the things they say that you people believe. They are like, they actually believe this is that I myself that I'm saying, no. So I think that where we are, there's no going back.
Okay.
We need to move forward, and so we should move forward in the positive
right
direction.
So now we're told until we test the law, going to the courts, and there's a CI following maybe a precedent or a judgment that has been made by the courts. That gives direction that for each of those decisions that is discretionary, particularly in relation to this, you have to put together a CI. then we know that we stay where we are. But at the onset of this conversation is the fact that there's a recall to incidents. One, that petition to Shraj, there's Richard Nyama, the current member of parliament, also for Nsawama Duejiri, for the removal of the commissioner. And President Mahama at the time decided, look, let me give this opportunity. It happened. So Loretta Lamte was removed. Then subsequently, the former president comes, there's a process that is undertaken. He says that, as for me, I'm only something vehicle. What did he say? I'm only a conveyor belt. So he conveys a petition, just like, and it's been done as well. The Charlotte Osei that was removed. Two strong heads of independent institutions that ideally should be clothed and well guarded by the Constitution. What do you think we have set as a country by way of the precedents that seem to be now haunting us, so to speak?
Well, I don't want to use the word haunting because I think that even with the Loretta Lamte matter and especially with the Charlotte Osei matter, where she was even denied the basic dignity of also receiving copies of the petition, you know, something that His Excellency has granted to the current Chief Justice. Before the matter, the prima facie matter was determined, she made a request to see a copy of those petitions, and His Excellency granted her that request. Charlotte Osei was never granted that, you know, that opportunity. So it makes it obvious that there must be some motivations or, you know, intent behind these actions or callings, and it doesn't work, you know, for the good of a nation, because this nation must be fair and must be just. Again, let me repeat, when I read, it was 7 Chief Justices, not 17. Oliver Barker Vamowo's post that since 92, 7 Chief Justices have been appointed. Only one did the NDC government appoint. And even with that one, the New Patriotic Party had cause to want to protest against the decision. In the history of this country, especially in the last government, Nana Akufo-Addo has appointed more judges in our judicial system than any other president. If it looks like a duck and quacks like a duck and walks like a duck, you cannot, you know, you cannot have a problem with people perceiving that these were deliberate, intentional tinkerings, especially when there are cases of judges who deserved promotions, who were denied those promotions. Then if you are today shouting, screaming yourself hoarse on top of the mountain, that something untoward is being done just by mere fact of a president acting on petitions he has received against the person of a Chief Justice. Are you saying the Chief Justice is above the law? Are you saying the Chief Justice, excuse me, with all due apology, is more human than Charlotte Osei? Was Charlotte Osei not someone's mother and wife and daughter than Loretta Lamte? So this is even the best time that we are having this conversation, a time that the Constitution Review Committee is hard at work, receiving, you know, commendations on which aspects of our Constitution we must take a second look at. Here we are, the GBA, which is one of the associations elevated above all other associations in this country, elevated above the Ghana Medical Association, Engineers Association, even GJA, because of the constitutional representations they are granted on many institutions, the GBA. And again, Professor Azar has raised a lot of things for us to have food of thought, to think through whether this is what we want. How do we give an association? By its terminology, it's voluntary, which means not even all lawyers may decide they are members of the Ghana Bar Association. But we give that association so much powers in this time that we are calling for the rollback of executive powers. I think this is the best time we must also call for the rollback of judicial powers, the rollback of legislative powers, and perhaps the increasing of media powers, because of all of these state institutions, the media as the fourth estate of the realm is the most disadvantaged of all these, institutions. The most, the institution with the least welfare for its members. So I'm saying that perhaps this is the time to take a second look at the powers that we have given the GBA, which powers they have proven over time that they have not used consistently, fairly, and justly. In fact, per their own, dictates, we can confidently say that the GBA has rather exercised its discretionary powers capriciously, unfairly, sometimes without candor, sometimes with the perception of some malice, because it will be difficult for them to excuse themselves of these perception when over the past 8 years we didn't see the level of activism we're beginning to see from them. And it is welcome activism. I wouldn't say it's not welcome, because we must show a marked departure from the character of the outgoing administration to the character of the His Excellency John Mahama's administration. We must show it, and to show that we are different, it is not a noun. It's a doing, it's a verb. By our actions, by the actions of His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, we would see very stark difference from him and the previous administration as to who is a real and true Democrat. So once again, it is time for us to look at the powers we have entrenched in concert with Professor Azar's, recommendation that we need to roll back some of the powers we have given the Ghana Bar Association. If there was a time that we were transitioning into a democratic regime, and there were concerns about the constitution, our constitutional, experiment, our democratic experiment, and so maybe some safeguards were put in place to ensure a stabilization. 32 years on, with successful transfer of power from, one democratically elected, government to another, I think that we are in a good space now to actually take a second look. Many people have said that the president has too far-reaching executive powers. So if this is the time to roll back those powers, why not open the net wider to look at the other state institutions or the other arms of government, like the judiciary? Perception matters. It is not for anything that, even though they say the law is what the judge say it is, there are avenues to appeal against decisions of the courts, right up to the Supreme Court. Even the Supreme Court can be asked to exercise its jurisdiction to review its own judgments. It means that even the judiciary lends itself to mistakes. They can interpret the law wrongly. They may also, in the exercises of the powers that have been granted them by the Constitution, in that elevated status as gods on earth, gods that can change your sleeping place by a mere stroke of their pen in judgment. Those same people given those same powers have been found to sometimes make mistakes. So let not the GBA pretend or try to posit as if their opinion is the only and final opinion on this matter, when what they're doing is a mere interpretation of their understanding of what the president, who is not a judicial authority or a quasi-judicial officer should act. So far, as I've said again in repetition, they have not shown us anywhere that if it's a procedural matter that they are drawing the attention, the tone of their statement should have been more appealing, because you're drawing the attention of the president to a procedural matter that you perhaps believe should have been the route to take. Yesterday, I heard one of them, in concluding, say that, it is a decision that the Black Law Dictionary defines adjudicating a matter either as a judgment or a decision. And so what the president has done by mere referral of some petition is like an adjudication of a matter. Even for us as laymen, that is very, very difficult for us to take, that by the mere action of a president referring a matter without making no judgment call, no value call, just a mere funneling of petitions to him per the direction of the Constitution to the Council of State, that it's a judgment that the president has taken over the matter. In what way? Has the president in any space declared the Chief Justice guilty, or he's not even spoken anywhere about this matter? In fact, he's been insistent to protect even the content of the petition. How the petition, so-called, found its way into the hands of New Patriotic Party, assigns MPs and, advocates to be quoting copiously. Only God knows the answer to that. But let the people of Ghana be assured that under this new regime, there will be fairness and justice and equity. And those that demand equity will be strictly invited to come to the equity table with some clean hands.
All right. Dr. Suzette Dromaka, again, I pose the same question to you. The references to the past, the Charlotte Osei scenario, Loretta Lamte, and its effects, the precedent we've set, the examples we've set, and then the question, why are people then complaining if we have to go forward?
Oh, people will always complain. I mean, but Shamima, there is not just a New Patriotic Party who are talking about the petition. Your own NDC people are also talking about the petition. And I think that, I mean, the things in the petition. We've heard, some gentlemen speak about it and things like that. I think that you guys need to clamp your people down and tell them to zip it. And then if the New Patriotic people want to do it, then you can also say that they are the ones doing it. But your people are also doing the same.
You will not see any government person directly.
Yes,
you see, there was a part, the NDC as a political party still existed. And because they went through quite a lot in the hands of the judiciary, members of the party still
between members of the party and governments. I'm trying to say
that the are coming from both sides.
Yes, it cuts both sides. Once you are in government, people don't differentiate government people like you from the party people. Okay. You understand? So so you need to ensure that your party people follow, because the party people can bring disrepute to a president that doesn't need that. Right. You get it? And so you must make sure that your party people to fall in line and say, look, this is not something we want to discuss because it impugns on the president, and the opposition are going to make a meal of it. Another thing that I'm talking about, I mean, Shamima is making a case for journalists. Well, she's a journalist, so she has to make a case for them. But I'm looking at the issue about packing the court by Nanado. Presently, I think we have 14 of them. Only 2 of them were not put in by Nanado. I think one was done by President Kufuor, that is Justice Bafuboni.
He appointed others who have even retired. So he even appointed more.
So the thing is, if he hadn't put these people in place, we would have been left with two Supreme Court judges. So there has to be somebody.
So your point is, if it falls within your term to appoint. If it falls in your term within to appoint. I mean, right now, the president has nominated 7 people, okay? The impression I get is to dilute it. I think he needs 5 more to dilute it. Then they become 12 and 12. Then we do 24. Then it's diluted. Then we are all going. Then we move. So
then
you should appoint 5 more.
Yes, I think you should appoint 5 more.
To create the balance.
Yeah, you understand. Then we have diluted. So if
it's for the sake of the
if they were all MPP and they were appointed by Nanado, you should dilute it.
But the president is not minded by those considerations. No, to be honest, he's not.
That's fine. That's fine. Yeah, he's the president, and he.
If you see some of those names, there were names that were obviously, and even some of these new appointments, they were judges that were
passed over. So
yes.
it's fine.
With no justifiable
there's particular
reason.
mention
It's
about.
I'm sure there are 5 more who were also passed over.
Justice Jamesi, and then also said Dennis Ajay.
Look, I'm looking at it from my Ghanaian humorous point. You understand? I'm like, okay, so this is the people. 12 of them were there who were appointed by Nanado. You understand? So we should make sure that if we want to dilute it and get
I wanted to clarify the point that because it's very important we let the Ghanaian people know that the petition did not come anywhere from government. The reasons why you saw the responses of people like Sami Demfi were the touch screen analysis. Okay. So based on those comments that the NPP themselves came to tell us, there was a response to it based on the travel policy of the judiciary. So it did not emanate from any member of government, nor to any member of the party. It was a response, assuming without admitting that what we're being told were the content of the petitions were indeed the content of the petitions. So
they were responding to what had leaked.
It.
Okay, so yes, so fine. I mean, the thing is that at some point in time, it gets blurred. Okay. If you keep quiet and somebody is saying the thing and he says, look, okay, fine, I'm not even going to respond to you because you understand, it's a certain discipline to say that somebody is saying something, you know what it is, but you say, I'm zipping it, I'm not even going to indulge you in this kind of conversation. I
asked a question about
then
the effect of the
Charlotte
and the Loretta things.
So again, yes, we can refer, we can look at it, but and I mean, it was unfortunate that what happened to Charlotte say. I mean, I think that it should not happen to anybody that is put into a certain position of trust like that. You understand? But it has happened. What have we learned from it? You know, and we shouldn't just get the experience. We must learn the lessons so that we don't repeat the mistakes if there were mistakes that were made. You get it? So I as for the comparison and the going back and the going back, for me, I find it sometimes it becomes too much of a equalize. It seems like it's an equalization. I don't believe it's an equalization. I want to believe that the petition against the Chief Justice is not an equalization.
Not born out
of what happened to Charlotte Osei. I would hope that that it is a standalone issue. Some people feel aggrieved about things that the CJ did and that and have done their thing, irrespective of what was done to Charlotte Osei. I don't think that I want to believe that it's an equalization thing.
No, it's not.
But there are certain things. Did we learn from the Charlotte Osei thing? Then we should do better. You understand? Were there mistakes? Then we should do better. If we as a nation allowed that woman to be sacked from her position by mistakes, then we should apologize for it. There's no doubt about it. You understand? So, of course, we can review.
That is women at the center of all these three.
It's unfortunate. You understand?
Cases.
We have a few women breaking the glass ceilings, and then we're putting problems and problems and problems, and men do worse things, and yet they get away with it. But that's another conversation. But I would hope that if we made mistakes, we should not repeat those mistakes, and we should not let it happen to anybody.
What do you make of the overly politicization of these actions currently?
We are tired of it. We're just tired of it as Ghanaians. Look, the majority of Ghanaians sometimes want to put their heads down, go to work, get paid, have the family time, and live their lives, and don't want to deal with the politics that we politicize every single thing. And it looks like we are moving from one campaign to the campaign to the campaign. Meanwhile, the democracy we are practicing is not paying dividends for the ordinary person on the street. We are practicing democracy. Democracy and our democracy is in danger because of the economy. You understand? Yeah. How would I put it? We doesn't care sometimes about the arguments that MPP and NDC get into. And we're like, what now? Warrior them argumenting. You understand? I'm a communism.
Where is in some ginger?
Sometimes we get that
Where is in some ginger?
Because everything everything then becomes, if it is not, it's an MTC color and it must be, we are tired of it.
All right.
I think that we have
there's
Ghanaians,
opportunity now for reset. And
Shamima,
like
thank you for passing through. It's a holiday, but you have to be pulled to do
Happy May
the Lord's
Day.
work.
Happy
Thank you
holiday,
very much.
yeah.
And I wish you the best for the day.
Thank you.
Are you going home or are you going to the...
No, I have some.
which one is the Lord's work?
Democracy, public discourse.
Okay.
Thank you for doing the Lord's work.
Yes.
Dr. Susan Amankwa and Amankwa helping us there. But let me say again, happy Workers' Day to a number of people. Emmanuel, I think you used to be with Blue Ocean. I don't know whether you're still with Blue Ocean, but wishing you all the best for the day. Happy Workers' Day. And then also Richmond Sechi, the whole Technical University. Happy Workers' Day as well. Mrs. Vera Queening of Cape Coast, happy Workers' Day. And then also Chairman Godwin Tamaklo, the Group Chief Executive for the RAID Group. Your wife Alice is celebrating the birthday. Happy birthday, Alice Tamaklo, from all of us, whether from everybody, Felicia, myself, the rest of the children. That will be Harriet, and then also Della and MFM. And I have a couple of comments, so let me just quickly go through a couple of the comments. BT Slice says, even with all the over 5,000 members of the GBA, even if all the over 5,000 members of the GBA had taken the resolution calling on the president to reinstate the CJ, it will still amount to nothing. Hey, BT Sly, relax for us. I have a couple of the comments also on social media, so I'll just quickly just go through and then we'll tell you about Broom. And this one is coming from Mike Simon, who said the GBA should be ashamed of themselves. When the CJ jumped over two of its senior judges to become CJ, what did the GBA do about it? Well, yeah, it's the appointing authority also who makes the decision. Kojo Jimfi says, the question has never been that Ghanaians don't have skill or that they have not learned, but rather are not employing Ghanaians to the right jobs, or we know it, but we're just playing around it. We know what the truth is, and just look at our police, forestry, as well as fire service officials, Ghana Education Service, etc., to Ghanaians ratio. It is unthinkable, the jobs that could be created that are not being created. And thank you for your comments as well. For all those who joined us this morning, we're grateful. Thank you as well. Now, every room holds a memory, and Broom makes those memories last a lifetime. From the metal frameless UHD smart TV with Alexa built-in voice control and an immersive Dolby audio to the Broom inverter smart Wi-Fi AC that saves up to 30% on prepaid power, runs silently and also lasts longer with this anti-rust golden fin. Also, the Broom front load washing machine also comes with a digital dual display and also consumes up to 40% less electricity with smart jet for the toughest stains. The Broom inverter chest freezer also offers an electronic touch control panel with fast freezing, low energy consumption and deodorization. Broom's premium 4-door glass refrigerator has a deep freezing effect at minus 32 degrees, has an inverter total no frost, and a modern touch screen display. Broom has everything your family needs. Remember, it is reliable, energy efficient, and designed for the modern lifestyle. Broom is available nationwide, so you have to call the toll-free line 0800 100 247, or you can visit broom.com. Broom is spelled B-R-U-H-M. Remember, Broom says they leave you with a smile. We're taking a break, leaving you with a smile, and next we'll do the latest sports updates.
Every day, people have money emergencies.